All right, this is brand new. Just came out yesterday around 6:02 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Washington Post in regards to the future of DJI in the United States. Trump orders could end Chinese drone sales in the United States. President Trump is expected to sign executive orders next week that widen his policies targeting China and Chinese companies. So this further fuels the availability of the DJI Mavic 4 Pro that just recently launched, the flagship Mavic drone from DJI, which is currently unavailable and most likely it will be completely unavailable or just not available at all in the future due to more policies in regards to more executive orders in um, in respect to the in respect to DJI and the creation of the drones and any other perhaps Chinese products. As I made a video, my previous video was about the leakage of the DJI Roma, which is a vacuum cleaner, which would have to scan your entire house and create a floor plan to understand where to clean and understand the logic of the house in order to get around and move around. If you change your floor plan or you move your couch or you move your dining room table, it needs to readapt to those locations. So it's constantly learning. It's AI. It's scanning, and again, the drones as well are a big part of this. So it looks like there's no surprise, after the Mavic 4 Pro launch and the upfront unavailability for the U.S. purchase, that you can't even find it. It's no surprise that this is just going to get further um, more complicated for the U.S. in order to purchase any DJI products or DJI drones. Let's see here what this article says. The White House is finalizing multiple executive orders on drones that could lead to Chinese companies being barred from selling new models in the United States, potentially upending the consumer drone market while escalating the growing conflict between the U.S. and China over technology and trade. Um, the new policies also would seek to update federal regulations on where commercial drones could be legally flown after unauthorized incursions over U.S. military bases in recent years. The people said blah 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 blah. Okay. Let's see here. Anything else? The popularity of Chinese-made drones in the U.S. has been a long-running concern for the national security community, with some politicians trying to ban them outright. The executive order could direct the U.S. intelligence community to accelerate reviews of whether Chinese drone makers, DJI and Autel, are a national security risk, a determination that Congress in late 2024 mandated to be made. U.S. drone makers have struggled to compete with lower priced products produced in China, which has a massive and technological advanced consumer drone industry. Chinese companies, especially DJI, have run some U.S. producers out of the market with their cheaper but highly capable drones sold to a range of users, from entry-level hobbyists to professional search and rescue teams or oil and gas surveyors. That's true. It's completely true. DJI Um, DJI can make them cheaper, make them better, and they've been doing that for more than 10 years now, and no one has been able to compete. It's obvious that DJI is cheaper and more advanced than any other USA company or any USA drone company that has been trying to compete with DJI. It has completely destroyed the competition. Any competition that tries to compete with DJI has to set the bar so high because it's been 10 years of trial and error, research and development, um, user ecosystem, user experience, user behavior that it is you need to basically adapt the current drone pilot in the United States to somehow convince them that this new drone you're trying to make will be better, but at the same time you have to show them some kind of new behavior that will make them convince themselves that they can go to another drone. And it's really hard when you've been doing that for 10 years without any other distraction where you kind of say, oh, I'm going to try this drone, I'm going to try that drone. No, it's been like a continuous, almost 99%, 99.9% updating and just adapting and learning and absorbing and behavior of the same continuous drone technology from DJI over and over and over. So um, it's really hard for any other company to just kind of jump in and say we're gonna take over, because this is it. This is the only company right now that pretty much completely dominates the drone technology industry, and mostly in the United States. The DJI drone market is the majority is in the United States. So now the U.S. is in trouble because where or who will make the new drones, right? Where are they going to make the new drone? Like, who's going to make the new drones? There's been, I believe, Skydio tried it, and they're pretty much gone. Um, I think Skydio was the last one, the promising one. There was other ones that I don't even remember the names, but didn't really like make it anywhere. Um, Also, they're too expensive. That's one of the biggest problems. Like the upfront costs of the drones are too expensive for the U.S. market. You know, you're talking about a couple $100 drones, really good drones. So you have to start there, and it's really hard to figure that out at the moment for U.S. drone companies. So who's left? You know, who can figure this out if DJI all of a sudden uh, is completely gone from the U.S. market, right? Uh, so I kind of, we understand. So if this passes, I mean, it's completely over for the. If this all this stuff goes through, it's completely over for DJI in the United States, and then who will, right? The question now becomes, okay, so if you could probably still hold on to your old DJI drones. You're just not going to be able to get anything newer. So like the current one is the Mavic 4 Pro, which is the absolutely top notch of the flagship drones, and the majority of Americans or the U.S. market does not have it. They snuck it in from another country, but it breaks off like there's no insurance, there's no nothing. So it's kind of like smuggling a product that doesn't have any value in the sense of it's kind of, it's a sketchy product in that you're using. And you don't want that. I mean, you want warranty, you want extensive warranty, you want some kind of insurance. These things are not cheap, and if you break them, then you're not covered from the manufacturer. So who will step up in the drone market in the USA? Will it be, I don't know, maybe SpaceX? Will it be, I don't know, like Boeing? Will it be, I don't know, who's also talking about drones? Maybe Uber. Let me just start going wild here with some companies, tech companies. Maybe Apple. Um, let's see who else. Who else could step up? I mean, I don't know. I don't really know who's gonna compete with DJI in order to do something here. Um, I'm thinking more transportation because a photography company. I mean, I'm just gonna throw. I mean, I know, was it Kodak, the Kodak drone. I don't know. I don't know. I think they ran out of business, but it could be a good comeback for Kodak because they're more a photography. They're like a photography company. So maybe it's a long shot, but it's it's interesting. That would be interesting. The Kodak drone. Um, I just don't know. Who's at the forefront in the U.S. for technology, artificial intelligence, um, aerial services or technology, and you got to throw in photography here because a lot of these drones have all this technology stuff. So who's going to step up once DJI is gone? So if you still have a DJI drone, I think you could still have it. There's no problem there. But anything moving forward, based on this article, would be completely banned or not brought into the United States. You could probably go to another country and purchase it, but that's about it. And it could be a whole lot of, like, a lot more expensive as well too. But it's kind of nuts. You have to travel somewhere to purchase something where it should just be in the U.S. market, right? But that's where we're at. That's pretty much it. This also is tied to the obvious, you know, the drones are literally mapping. They have mapping capabilities. So one of the big concerns here, as far as the ban, is that the data is being sent back to origin. So aerial mapping with the drones, you can completely. They've been mapping the whole world for a long time now. Um, Now the vacuum cleaner, right? The vacuum cleaner would have to map your house, make a floor plan, and create a visual. That's more data. So their concern is all this. Where's all this data going? Where all this mapping data is going to? It's all information that's kind of like national, and it's being captured by a foreign product. So that's all the questions, right? We don't know. Um, but they're incredible drones. Like they're. I mean, I've been using them for a long time, and they've just became the best of the best, and there is no other. You can't even think of another because it's that good. So let me know in the comments what you guys think, and if you have any other um, thoughts about who might step up, who's going to be the hero for the U.S. drone market, who's going to figure this out, because it's a tough choice. It's a tough it's a problem. Like you can't just copy it. You have to almost find them where they're at, but figure something else out that perhaps DJ has never thought about, and then move from there. So because this is going to start moving the U.S. drone market way down. It's gonna put the U.S. drone market in a really uh, downgraded market when the new drones don't make it out in 5, 6, 7 years, and the U.S. drone market keeps using old drones, so they're stuck with drones that are like 10 years old. That's gonna be crazy. Um, that's gonna be very interesting, very very interesting. So we'll see.